This is Kate Cohen, sponsored athlete with Juggernaut Training Systems and the JuggernautAI App. So I realize this is a little bit overdue since I last competed about 2 weeks ago on March 1st at the USA Powerlifting Arnold Sports Festival in Columbus, Ohio. And it was surprisingly, in my 13 years of competing, my first time that I had made it to the Arnold's. 2 years ago I tried to get there, but during prep I had ended up having a subluxation of my ribs, so wasn't able to get there then. And then last year I was graduating with my doctorate, so again wasn't able to get there. So to finally get to Columbus was just a wonderful experience in itself. But I wanted to take this time to speak about my 15-week prep leading into competition day, the meet day itself, and then now that I am done, how I feel about my performance and where we are off to next. So the Arnold was probably my best competition of all time. In all my years of competing, it went wonderfully well. Not many complaints, so that was awesome, but I'll get to that in just a few. And at the start of this prep, 15 weeks prior, I had ironically come off of having my worst meet of my entire powerlifting career. So I had competed at the Rising Tide meet, and the last 2 weeks of my peaking phase, I had gone away on my honeymoon where I didn't really touch a weight for those 2 weeks. So not a really great situation. I ended up bombing out on my deadlifts, which for anyone that knows me is my bread and butter during that meet. And that really motivated me even more so to prep for the Arnold in a way that it was just going to be authentically my own. I was going to do everything that I needed to do in order to give my best performance I could. So with that said, during my 15 weeks, I had a certain number of goals in mind. I think that each prep comes with its own goals, and for me, the Arnold prep was about 3 different things. One of them was going to be about stacking all my small wins. So for instance, if I didn't feel like I could get another rep or 2, or if I didn't feel like I could put on another couple of pounds of weight into my accessories or into my compound lifts, then I was going to ensure that I did just that. Secondly, I really wanted to make sure that I stayed within the present moment of the workouts. So not looking ahead 2 or 3 weeks, not thinking about, upcoming PRs or anything like that, but just giving the workout everything that I could for each of the days that I had built up throughout the blocks. Then, thirdly, I also wanted to make sure that I was selecting exercises from the AI app that not are best or worst for me, but that I know are going to effectively challenge me and prepare me for meet day itself. So for me, that it means incorporating a ton of rear foot elevated Bulgarian split squats, as much as we all don't like them, a ton of lat pull downs, hamstring curls, and so on and so forth. So those were my 3 goals throughout this entire prep, and it worked really well. As far as numbers went, I kind of stuck with strong numbers for myself as far as bench and deadlift went. So for deadlift numbers, that range was anywhere between maybe 195 kilos to around 200 to 202.5 kilos, so around 430-ish pounds to 446 pounds, which is pretty strong. Those are strong top singles for me in the 48 kilogram weight class, which is about 105 pound weight class. And then for my bench, nothing too crazy, stuck within the range for my top singles around 75 or 72.5 to 77.5 kilos, which is about 165 to anywhere around 170 to 175 pounds. For squat, I did end up hitting a couple PRs throughout my entire prep. So 2 weeks prior to competing, I ended up securing a 145 kilo or 319 pound squat. I was very happy about that. So of course I wanted to try to bring it into meet day itself. So building into meet day, I weighed in at 47.15 kilos or 103.8-ish pounds, and felt really, really good. Having been doing the weight cuts and water cuts for a little while now, pretty used to doing them at this point, so didn't feel bad at all. I just knew that right after weigh-ins that I would need to hydrate a ton, which I did, ate my carbs, and off we were going. So my husband had helped me warm up in the back room, and squats, I decided to open up with 135 kilos or 297 pounds. This was the second time that I had ever opened up with that number. Getting into the groove of the meet day, that number was a little bit of a sticky opener, to be quite honest. I wasn't exactly proud of it, but I knew that I was still kind of flowing, waking up. It was an early weigh-in and so on and so forth. So I just decided to stick with the plan for my second attempt. And my second attempt was a conservative 5 kilo jump to 140 kilos or 308 pounds. Much, much better, much smoother than my opener attempt. So then the third attempt came, and I decided that I would go for that PR that I had hit in training 2 weeks prior, which was the 145 kilos or 319 pounds.
There we go. Let's go.
I really grinded it out, but unfortunately I did not meet the depth command, so didn't get my kilos there, but that was okay. Like any good person in the field of sports psychology would say, you are off to the next. Leave the failure behind and go on to the next lift. So at that point, I had gone back into the warm-up room, celebrated my small little wins, just got my head back into the game, visualized how the rest of the meet would go. I'm big in the visualization process. I use that tool a ton. It really works very, very well for me throughout all of my training, throughout all of my preps, throughout meet day itself, and so on and so forth. So that's exactly what I did. With my bench, I opened up with nothing that I haven't really opened up with before, which was 70 kilos or 155 pounds. Nice and easy. So I made the next jump to 75 kilos or 165 pounds. Really, really good, smooth lift. And then finally I went to 77.5 kilos. And unfortunately, I beat the command by just like a millisecond, and I knew it too. So I missed the 2.5 kilos there, but again, that was all right. It was then time for deadlift. So took my 15-minute break in the warm-up room and then began my warm-ups. The thing with deadlifts, I had decided to address a small tweak in my tapering phase with my deadlifts. And after clearing it with Chad and Marissa, I decided that this was going to be a really good and positive change for myself, just knowing how my training goes, speaking from experience of kind of what's occurred throughout my last meets with my deadlift and top sets and so on and so forth. I decided that I was going to keep my deadlift numbers pretty heavy in my taper week and then reduce all the volume for everything else. And it was a really, really probably one of the best decisions I decided to make during a prep. So after quitting it with Chad and Marissa, I went into deadlifts on meet day feeling extraordinarily good. So I warmed up, everything was just moving, just like another training day in the gym, and I opened up. I decided also for this meet to go pretty conservative. Even Gino, the announcer, was saying that, are you going to go for the world record again for your last attempt? And I said, probably not, Gino. I think I'm going to go pretty conservative for this meet. So with that said, I opened up with 187.5 kilos or 413 pounds. So in the couple meets prior, I had opened up with 190 kilos or 418 pounds. And it's always seemed a little bit heavy off the floor, but with my 413 pounds, it was light, it was easy. I also felt really good about how I had tapered, how I had made that slight little change for my deadlift stuff in the week prior leading into meet day. So felt great. It went flying off the ground and we were off and running for my next attempts. So then after we went to the back, my husband said, do you want to go for the higher number or the more conservative number for your second attempt? So sticking with my plan that I had agreed upon with myself, I decided that I would make a little jump to 192.5 kilos or 425 pounds instead of 195 kilos or 430 pounds. And really great jump. This is a jump that I would normally do in training. So again, just felt like another training day. That went very easily. So I then after having a little celebratory moment of now finally securing a new PR in competition, I again went into the back and my husband said, what do you want to go for your third attempt? I did not have a number written down. And I did that on purpose to just reduce some of the pressure from my mindset, to just go into this with taking it one lift at a time and so on. So at that moment, I had a decision to make, and the world record was 200 kilos or 440 pounds for my 48 kilo weight class. So having gone for the world record 4 times prior to this, there's always that slight bit of doubt, but I didn't feel that doubt this time around. I felt good. So I decided that it was time. It was time to go for it again. So I said to my husband very confidently, let's go for it. 200.5 kilos, world record attempt. And he, agreed. He said okay, and he told the attempts table. At that point, it was my time to just go out there, take it in, do what I do during training. That was my whole thing, was just to concentrate, focus, do my pre-performance routine. It was just another day. So, did my pre-performance routine, did my approach up to the bar, didn't feel any seedling of doubt, and, lifted that bar, and it was so easy. It was so easy. It just felt like an opener attempt. So 442 pounds went up like featherweight. It was just like an empty bar. And, at that point, you really take it all in. Obviously I haven't really absorbed all of the emotions yet. It's like 17 years of working for this moment, for this moment that seems so surreal, and then having failed it so many times before, I guess you just have so many feelings of that are pouring in. Like, you feel the emotions that were embarrassment, that were failure, that were successes, that were grit and will and just discipline and consistency, and like all the people and the mentors that have helped me get to this point, including my coaches and and the person who has taught me how to deadlift, and all my friends who have supported me, my family members who have like watched me fail in front of so many of these people, and it's just a surreal, unbelievable feeling. It was one of the best feelings I've ever had as an athlete all my life. I guess it was just rushing in, and I wanted to ensure that those white lights were behind me, and so in those moments I just couldn't help but just peel over and let it all rush through me, and I turned around and those white lights were there, and it was extraordinary. It was great. I had a moment with the bar, kissed the bar, and I got to celebrate and run into my husband's arms, and we had that moment together, and it was everything. So I think that about sums up my meet day performance, and just could not be happier with it, just could not be more ecstatic. Still taking in that experience today, even all these days later, it just feels still surreal and feels incredible, to be quite honest. So with that said, I will now be getting ready to prep for Raw Nationals in June. Excited to again implement those changes that I had done for this past prep into this upcoming one. Really, really excited to kind of put some more kilos onto that bar, especially for that next deadlift attempt. Just really can't wait. So ecstatic, so excited. It's gonna be a crazy, good, positive ride, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes. So with that said, I'll be back. I'll see you all in Atlanta in June, and I appreciate you all watching.